Hi guys, Chris here, UrbanQ Smokehouse.com. You know, fall is the time for hunting, and so I figured I'd do some venison stuff for you. So today, I had a buddy bring me over a tenderloin, and what we're gonna do is we are gonna season it up, put some jalapeno on there, and wrap it in some cherry wood smoked bacon. And we are going to throw it on the smoker, and also I'm going to make a little condiment to go with this. So I'm going to make some red onion marmalade to go with it. So what I have is the tenderloin. You'll see it's got a nice little bit of silver skin on here. So we're going to go in here and take that out. Bit here, so we'll get that. And then what I'm going to do with this is I'm probably going to take a little bit of this and use for hamburger later, or sausage, one of the two. So I'm going to cut the head off right there, and I'm going to cut the tail off right there, and I'm going to set this aside. This will be great for some sausage later. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the UrbanQ Smokehouse button rack rub, and I'm going to put a little bit on there just to kind of season it up a little bit, not all the way around, just enough to give it a little bit of seasoning. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to take jalapenos. Now what I've got is canned whole jalapenos. You can get these mild or hot, and basically I'm just taking the seeds out of them. So just basically scraping them, and then we're going to layer these. I've done some already, so we're just going to layer these down the tenderloin. So we've got pretty good coverage there. And then the bacon I'm using is smoked a little bit longer than regular bacon, so it's almost, it almost looks like ham. So it's not as pliable, but it'll cook up a little bit better. So what I'm going to do with the bacon is just basically run it on my board, down the board, so that I can roll this up. Then I'll take my loin and I'll put it jalapeno side down, pull this bacon up over the top of it, and roll it. Okay, a little piece there I'll trim off. And that's basically all I'm going to do with that. Now, I'm going to take this and put it on a 250 smoker, and we're going to cook this probably try to cook it to about 140. I want the bacon to kind of crisp up a little bit, get a little color on it, and while we're doing that, we're going to go out to my other little kitchen and we're going to make some red onion marmalade. So now we're out in the outdoor cooking arena here. We're going to do the red onion marmalade to go with that tenderloin. So really easy stuff. I mean, all this stuff that I try to make and show you all is something that anybody can do. Very hard to screw up. If you screw it up, try it again. That's the best thing to do. But so with this red onion marmalade, basically have 4 red onions, and all we did was julienne them. So you cut your onion in half and just cut down through it. And put those in our pan here. more. All right, so got our onions there, and then we have apples. So I basically use 4 large red onions, and I use 4 large apples. Now you can use anything you want. I used a local Cortland apple that comes right down the street from our house, but you can use anything you want. I've done it a lot of times with Granny Smith. I think that works out very well. Red Delicious has a little bit of sugar in it. And when you peel these, you don't really have to get all the skin off. I just try to get most of it off because it just makes better eating that way. But I have made it where I never took the skin off at all, and it turns out fine. So when you get done with cutting all this stuff up, put it in your pan, and then, so with this, I've got about 3 pounds of product. So kind of the rule of thumb with marmalade is, for every pound of product, use half a pound of sugar. So if I have 3 pounds of this, I'm gonna put in about 1.5 pounds of sugar. And then we're gonna let this just reduce. I'm gonna put a little fresh lemon juice in there to help the sugar kind of caramelize down. So what you can do now that we've got this cut, we're gonna go over to our pot. I'm gonna use duck fat, just because, we're doing kind of gamey stuff, so I would rather use duck fat. Now, you could just still go back and use olive oil, or if you wanted to use lard, you could use lard. But we're only gonna put in about 2 tablespoons of this into our pot, just enough to kind of wet everything and get it going. We're gonna saute it down a little bit, put in our sugar, and then shut the lid and let it go. So now I've got my duck fat. Coming over here to the pot, get that going. And then I'm going to put our onions and apples in. We'll let those go for a minute and I'll stir them up. Now that's all going in there, oops, we're gonna stir this up a little bit at a time. Okay, we're gonna let this go for a couple minutes and then we'll come right back to it. So now this is cooking down quite a bit, starting to get a little translucent, so we're gonna add the sugar in. So like I said, we had about 3 pounds of product, so we're gonna put about 1.5 pounds of sugar in there. And basically, you're basically making jam. So, so now that I have the sugar in there, I'm gonna grab my lemons. It's okay if the seeds go in there because I'm not gonna kill anybody. But I'm putting the juice of 2 whole lemons in there. If you use lemon juice, Ends up being about 2 tablespoons to spend depending on the size of your lemons, but that's what I'm going for, about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Then I'm going to stir it all in. Just kind of wait for it to do its thing. So when you think about sugar, in anything that you cook, sugar is moisture. So you're basically bringing out a lot of the flavors in the onions and the apples, but it's going to give you juice too. So once you get it all stirred up in there, I'm going to watch this. Now out here, if you do this on the stove, you can adjust your temperature. So with me doing it on an open fire like this, I'm going to put the lid on and then I'm going to watch it. And if it gets to be a little too sticky, then I will lift my pan up off my fire a little bit. But as you can see, down in this pot, that little bit of sugar has already made an inch of juice down there in the bottom of the pan. So this is what's going to make it nice and good. Now some people will add in allspice. Some people will add in a little bit of cider vinegar, but I'm kind of a purist in this point. So I'm just sugar, onions, apples, a little bit of lemon juice, and that's it. Cinnamon is real good in here too, but for wild game, I think this is going to be the way to go. So I'm going to put the lid on, and we'll come back out here and check this a little later when we check our tenderloin. So our marmalade's been on here for a little over an hour. As you can see, it's kind of all caramelized up and getting gooey. Now, normally I'll wait until all of this liquid down in here is completely gone and it really caramelizes. But if you guys make this at home, you'll know that you can do that. But I'm going to take it off and go over here to our pork loin. Our venison loin, not the pork loin, I'm sorry. But anyway, so basically to make this plate up, I'm just going to put a little of this at the bottom of the plate. It's nice and gooey. And then I'm going to cut this loin into several pieces. And put it right on there. Now, I was going to tell you again about this bacon. Basically, I used the Newski's bacon, and the reason it's a little more smoked. So it's not real pliable like the thin grocery store kind of bacon, which you can use. But I like this because the flavor is a lot better, and it's the only one I've seen that's been a cherry wood smoked bacon. So, you know, when you get this, you can slice it real thin. And then you put a little bit of this stuff on there. Now, if you're doing like hors d'oeuvres for a party, you can put this on a slice of bread, put a little balsamic drizzle on there, and let her rip. Excuse me one moment while I try this. Ooh. Too good, too good. All right, so let me tell you about this. Lots of flavor going on here. You've got hot, sweet, salty. The meat is perfect, melts in your mouth. I just don't have words. It's so good. Anyway, if you like what you're seeing, like us on Facebook. If you want to try some of our rubs, get on UrbanQ.com, UrbanQSmokehouse.com. Check us out. We have sauces, rubs, the rub we used on this, hopefully it will be on the market pretty soon. But hey, thanks for watching. Love to have you come over for dinner, but you know, right now I'm eating by myself, and here's my barbecue buddy Bailey right here. She's helping me too. So until next time, see ya.